Go.
Hi, sorry for the technical problem. We'll start over again. Good evening, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Vanrammawii Chawngthu. I'm from Mizoram. First of all, happy Northeast Day to all the Northeast out there, Northeastern out there. And I'm here with my apprentice today. Introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Richard.
And she's gonna help me around in the kitchen today. So today we're gonna make a rice flour cake, which is a very simple sponge cake. It's a gluten-free, which is we don't use flour here. We use rice flour here. So I'm gonna show you my ingredients. I'm gonna give you a better look at my ingredients so that you can concentrate on my baking. So here we have four numbers of eggs, and here we have we're using only 50 grams of icing sugar and 25 grams of corn flour, 30 grams of milk, 22 grams of vegetable oil, and one fourth of salt, and 65 grams of rice flour. And we're using a vinegar, so we will whip up the egg yolks first. First, I'm gonna start with whipping my egg whites. I'm gonna make a meringue first. Oh, we cannot forget to preheat the oven. You have to preheat the oven in 160 degree
Ring the win.
centigrade. And talk loud, please. Can you hear it better? First, I'm gonna make a meringue with 4 egg whites. I'm separating the egg whites from the yolks, and we are saving the yolks for the batter. You can use an egg separator, or you can do it by this method. It is very simple. You do it nice and slow so that you don't mix the egg whites with the egg yolks, because you don't want your egg yolks to be in the egg whites.
They want to know if there's any option other than eggs, if they don't have eggs.
I'm sorry, I don't have an eggless recipe for this. It's so weird. So I'm gonna use a little bit of white vinegar. You can use cream of tartar as well, but I'm going to use normal vinegar as it is easily available at home, so you don't have to get another white vinegar or cream of tartar if it's not available. So I'm going to add this, and I'm going to start whipping it into soft peak. You don't want your egg whites to be too stiff, so you have to be careful while whipping it. You will have to gradually add your icing sugar. sound of Sheila.
Icing sugar.
50 grams. 50 grams.
15 grams of
50,
ice-
50
icing.
yes. You see, it can get really messy if you're working in a very small ball, so you just have to tidy it up again. And this is the consistency we're looking for, not too stiff and not too soft. And we're done with our meringue. And the next step is we're going to add the egg
We want
yolks.
to know what are you making?
I'm making rice flour cake.
Rice flour cake.
Yes, a gluten-free cake.
And if you can repeat how much icing sugar?
50 grams.
1 5.
50.
50 grams.
So here is the So this is the 4 egg yolks, and then I'm gonna mix it with the, I'm gonna beat it up, I'm gonna beat it up a little bit, and I'm gonna mix it with the meringue. I'm not using a whisk, so I'm using this spatula. This is called a spatula, so you just have to gently fold it in, no rush. If you mix it with a whisk or if you go too fast, your batter will flatten when while baking. So you just have to keep on going. You need to have patience. You need to be patient while folding this.
Can you repeat what mix is that like?
Okay.
What are all the ingredients
First, this is egg white and icing sugar, and we add a little bit of vinegar to stiffen the egg whites. And after this consistency, we separate the yolks and we mix the yolks with this meringue. White sugar, this icing sugar and egg whites mixture is called a meringue. So we are mixing the meringue with the yolks, and we're going to add in like 3 batches. First batch is gone, the second one. I don't have a recipe of this without egg, so sorry.
How much vinegar?
1/4 cup. That will be 1/4 cup. That will be around
1/4 cup of what?
of vinegar. hope my voice is audible. So this is the last batch of my meringue.
ingredient không có mỏ em mới ra giống giống cái kia nào cái lẩu xe đó thì cái mỏ.
If you want to know my full recipe, I can post it online on Facebook. If you don't have a measuring scale, I will give you the recipe with the measuring cups. You don't want to over mix your batter. Now I have here in hand is rice flour and a pinch of salt and corn flour. 25 grams of corn flour, 65 grams of rice flour and a pinch of salt. So I'm gonna mix together the dry ingredients, which is the rice flour, the salt and the corn flour.
Repeat the name of the dish.
Rice flour cake. Okay. I'm making a rice flour cake. If you haven't like caught up with me, so I'm repeating again. I'm making a rice flour cake. This is not traditional, but I'm using rice flour because we use a lot of rice flour in my place. So I'm thinking of a recipe which I can turn into cake, and which is also very healthy because it's gluten free. Oops.
Any brand of rice flour? What kind of brand are you using?
I'm using a homemade rice flour. I'll show you at the end of the video. I will show you how to make a homemade rice flour. You just have to keep on folding.
So they want to know if they can get it in shops like grocery shops, or we have to get it homemade only.
Yes, you can. You can search online, or maybe Big Bazaar, or anywhere, any store. The original recipe was supposed to be 100 grams of icing sugar, but since I don't like it very sweet and I want it more healthy, I'm adding only 50 grams. You need a lot of patience in making this any sponge cake. You can't mix it in a mixer, stand mixer. You just have to do it with hand, slowly.
Can we use any rice flour?
You can use any rice flour if it's you can try out. But today I'm using a white rice.
And benefits of using corn flour.
Corn flour makes it fluffier and it helps in rising.
How much rice flour is used?
65 grams of rice flour. We're almost done. This is the last ingredients, which is milk, oil and vanilla essence. I'm using only 30 grams of milk, 22 grams of vegetable oil, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla essence. Here I'm using a powdered vanilla essence. So this is all 3 mixture in 1 cup, so I'm gonna mix it well so that I dissolve the powdered vanilla essence.
Can we add cocoa powder or any other flavor?
You can make it in any flavor. If you want mango essence, strawberry essence, you can do it in various essence.
Is baking powder required?
No, baking powder is not required.
Repeat the recipe.
Okay, I'll repeat the recipe again. First, 4 numbers of eggs, large eggs, and 65 grams of rice flour, 25 grams of corn flour, 30 grams of milk, 22 grams of vegetable oil. You can use any oil you can use. I'm using canola oil because I want it to be more healthier, because I want my father to eat this. And 1/4 cup of salt, 1 tablespoon of vanilla essence, and 50 grams of icing sugar, and last 1 teaspoon of white vinegar. Okay, we're done with the mixture. Okay. I'll post the recipe in this Amul page if you want to try it out yourself. So now we are done with mixing it. So we have, first I'm gonna pour my batter in this springform pan. I put this baking sheet on the bottom, and you just have to pour it. I'm not making any fancy desserts today. I'm just showing you a very simple recipe, which is also healthy, which you can get all the ingredients in your locality, and it's just you just need an oven, of course. And I'm just gonna scrape it a little bit so that I will smoothen the surface. So I have preheated my oven for 160 degrees centigrade, and I'm gonna bake it now. The baking time varies in the different ovens, so I cannot tell you exactly how much time it will take for you to bake this. I'm gonna try baking it first for maybe 35 minutes. And let's see inside. Okay. Try avoid. Yes.
If they need to tap it.
Here you can tap it. I have smoothened the surface on the top, so I don't tap the bottom. So I'm just cleaning my the surface that I'm working on, and I don't know how much time exactly it will take. So I have baked previous one before. So if it takes too long, I will show you the finished product. And I'm not gonna garnish. I'm not gonna do any fancy garnishes. I'm just gonna dust it with an icing sugar on top. So if you have any question, I can answer you.
Preheat how many minutes?
You can start preheating when you started keeping all the ingredients. First thing I usually do is preheated my oven, and then I go collecting all my ingredients, and then I weigh it, and I put in a separate bowl. I segregate. I prepped everything in hand, like whatever I needed for the baking, so it will be easier for me, and so that it will save time, and it's much easier when things are all organized before baking.
So they're asking if there's no baking powder in your recipe, how would it rise?
Oh, that's a good question. I'm not using a baking powder because I am already whipping up the egg whites and sugar and vinegar, and that is the leavening agent in this recipe. You don't always need a baking powder in whatever you're baking, but it depends on the recipe. But if you're making a sponge, like there will be in other sponges, there will be a recipe with baking powder, one without baking powder, so it depends on the recipe. But you cannot try out everything in this recipe because this is already been been tried before, and you don't need baking powder. If you want to use baking powder, you can try it and see if it rises better than what I'm baking. So it will take 35 minutes. So if it's taking too long, then I will show you the final product, which I have made earlier for my trial.
How much vinegar?
1/4 cup of vinegar. I'm sorry, 1/4 teaspoon.
Okay. They want to know where they use the vinegar, like when should we put in the vinegar?
Okay. I'll repeat again. I'm using the vinegar only to stiffen up the egg whites. I'm adding the vinegar along with the egg whites before I start beating up with the hand mixer, and it helps a lot in rising up the white eggs. So if you have any more questions, you can ask me, or if it's getting too boring, or if you don't have much time to wait for it to bake, I will show you the final product if you want.
If they don't want to use eggs, then what can they do?
I'm sorry, but there has to be an egg because I'm not using any baking powder, so there is no other leavening agent. So I'm using eggs is the main ingredient, I can say, like to leaven it up.
Okay, and then the quantity of the milk?
30 grams. 30 grams of milk.
Okay, they want to see a prepared one.
Okay.
Since it will take a long time for
The icing sugar mo. You put it closer.
So I
Can you make it lower? I'm just gonna dust it with icing sugar. I'm not doing any fancy dessert, so I'm just gonna put a little bit of icing sugar. If you're making and like with cocoa powder, if you're adding cocoa powder, you just have to lessen the amount of the rice flour.
They want to know if they can use plain sugar instead of icing sugar.
It's ideal to use icing sugar because it's a sponge cake, so you don't want crumbs of sugar in the cake, so it doesn't mix well with the grain sugar. So if you don't have an icing sugar in hand, okay, I'll tell you a very easy way. You can just take your grain sugar and you can just grind it in your grinder, and you grind it until it's powdered, and then it's ready to use. So okay, I'm going to show you what I said. I'm going to show you how to make. I'm not going to show you, but I'm going to tell you. It's very simple. I think I don't have to show you this. This is the rice which I used for my rice flour. It's very common here in my place in Mizoram. We use it. We used to make. We call it thangban. It's called a sticky rice cake. You can call it. And what you have to do with this is you just have to rinse this rice very thoroughly, like maybe twice or thrice, and you're gonna. After rinsing it, you're gonna add some water, and you're gonna soak it for at least 2 hours. Okay. Okay. First, I will finish this rice flour, and you just have to rinse it, and then you just have to put water, and then after that. You soaked in the water for at least 2 hours. After that, you drain the water very thoroughly because you don't want any water, you don't want any moisture in your rice, in your flour. After you put it for at least 2 hours with the soaking in the water. So you have to soak the water from the rice, and if it's not dry enough, you just put a paper cloth, like paper towel or anything on top of the rice, and you just dry it in a dry place, or you can just dry it in the sun, or so that it will get drier. And then after that, you just have to grind it in the grinder. That's it. Okay, I'm gonna slice.
You want to see the sponginess.
This one I use a very big spring foam, so that's why it gets sticky and it's very soft. It is not like a normal sponge. It is very soft and moist. Wanna try it? Is it good?
Yes.
One more? Any questions you can ask?
more.
Okay, I'll read the comments myself.
What's that inside?
It's nothing, there's nothing inside, it's just a plate. You take normal sugar and grind to powder form at home. Oh, thank you. Yes, I take normal sugar, I just grind it to powder, and before using it, you make sure you sieve it so that there is no particles on it. And yeah. Okay, this little girl here is not my daughter, she is my niece. My niece. How much vinegar to use? You can use 1 teaspoon or maybe lesser than that. So should we wait for the baking or are we done here? Thank you everyone for keeping up with my first ever live video of me baking. I'm really like nervous because this is my first time doing live. I've never shared my recipe with anyone, especially in live. So if I make any mistakes or if I get very boring at times, I'm really sorry for that. But I am very grateful to Amul India for giving me this great opportunity to show my skills and to shine here. And I am very much thankful because I am representing Mizoram for the first time. So this is a very, very good starting for me because I'm just starting my business. I'm doing a home baking in Mizoram. So I'm planning to further make a cafe here in Mizoram. So I'm starting home baking. I've started home baking when around 2016 when I was still a student, and I could not do regularly because I need to complete my studies. So I've completed my studies. I've did my hotel management in IIHM Kolkata, that is International Institute of Hotel Management Kolkata. I have done my training in Malaysia, and I've worked in Lila Ambience Gurgaon, and here I am doing my own thing. I'm trying to make a very good cafe.
Where did you do your baking course?
I didn't do a separate baking course. I just learned baking in my college. We have a baking class separate. I did my third year only for baking, and then after that, after finishing my graduation, I went straight to job for in bakery, that is in Lila Gurgaon, Lila Ambience Gurgaon. So thank you everyone for going live with me today. I hope you enjoy my live, and I'll see you again. Thank you everyone. Bye bye.